This is Addie Cron Podfic, back again with another podfic. Today I will be reading Chapter 9 and 10 of Our Broken Repair Boy by Just Your Average Weird Fangirl on fanfic.net. Alright, let's jump right in. Leo woke up to Annabeth reading in the corner of his room. He was confused for a second before he remembered. "Hey," he said. "Hey," she replied, closing her book. "Did you sleep well?" "Yeah," he said, sitting up and stretching. "What time is it?" Annabeth checked her watch. 6:30, she said. "You're up pretty early." "So are you," he said, with a raised eyebrow. "Yeah, but this book is really good," Annabeth defended. "Fair," Leo conceded. "So, what's the plan for tomorrow?" "Well, breakfast first, obviously," Annabeth said. Then we could go to the machine shop straight away, get it out of the way. Then Percy and I were wondering if we could have the day off to just relax and have some fun before we fight a war. "Sounds good to me," Leo agreed. "I'm gonna go get changed, then we should go to breakfast." "Sure," Annabeth agreed. As he had the day before, he went to the bathroom to get changed. When he stepped out, Annabeth was waiting for him. "Shall we go?" she asked. "Yep," Leo answered. They made their way to the dining hall. Percy was already there, drowning his pancakes in blue maple syrup. Jason and Piper sat next to each other, talking quietly. Frank and Hazel were nowhere to be seen. Annabeth and Leo went to sit next to Percy, who greeted them enthusiastically. "Seaweed brain, I think that's enough maple syrup," Annabeth said, sounding half exasperated and half amused. "You can never have too much maple syrup," Percy disagreed and continued to pour maple syrup on the pancakes. Leo watched on in amusement. After spending time with them on a spanking hot war machine, he was starting to understand why the Aphrodite captain thought they were such a perfect couple. Just then, Frank and Hazel walked in. "Hey guys," Hazel smiled. "What's going to be the plan for today?" Annabeth cleared her throat and spoke up. "We were thinking that we should go to the machine shop first thing to get it out of the way, then maybe a day off." Her proposal was met with nods of agreement. "When do we leave?" Jason asked. "As soon as we're all done," Percy suggested. "No point waiting, really." "Sounds good," Piper agreed. "Let's finish eating quickly. I just want to make the most of the day off." Mumbles of agreement sounded through the room as everyone stuffed their face with food. Within 5 minutes, they were all done. "All right," Leo said. "Let's go." 7 walked to the machine shop, chatting quietly with each other. The only people who really knew what everything was were Annabeth and Leo. The rest were just tagging along. They had decided it would be best to stick together, even on a day off, just in case there was a monster attack. "Which parts do we need?" Annabeth asked Leo. They hurried off, leaving behind 5 very confused demigods. "Does anyone have any idea where they're going?" Frank asked. "Nope," Hazel replied, shaking her head. "Best to just wait here until they get back so there's no chance we'll lose them." They stood there for another 5 minutes, just talking quietly about the stupidest things ever until the pair of demigods emerged from the aisles, their hands full of machine parts. They paid quickly, then went over to their friends. "Where to now?" Annabeth asked. "Should we just walk around till we see something appealing?" "Till we see something that looks appealing," Piper suggested. "Sounds perfect," Leo grinned. And that's what they did for the next 3 hours. They ate some food, they walked around, they bought some things they had wanted. They generally enjoyed themselves. Until it happened. They were walking down an alley, which, in hindsight, was not the best idea, when they heard something. "Leo?" Leo snapped his head around, his hand going to his tool belt. He had been in this area before, and he had some enemies. He relaxed as soon as he saw who it was. "Maya?" The woman walked up to them. "It is you!" she laughed. "Gosh, I haven't seen you in years. How have you been?" Leo?" Piper interrupted. "Are you going to introduce us to your friend?" "Oh, right, yeah," he said. "Guys, this is my friend Maya. These are my friends Percy, Annabeth, Piper, Jason, Frank, and Hazel." Maya smiled at them. "Nice to meet you all." She turned back to Leo. "I can't believe it's actually you. We thought you were dead, either that or in jail." "I had no clue what happened to you," Leo said. If I knew you were out and free, I would have tried to contact you." She laughed and looked over her shoulder. "Hold on," she said. "Brayden, get over here." A man about Maya's age walked over. His eyes widened when he saw Leo. "Valdez? Is that you?" he asked. "Well, I'm not a stranger," Leo laughed. In his excitement at meeting old friends, Leo had forgotten about his new ones. "How do you know each other?" Jason asked. He seemed slightly suspicious of the two. Maya opened her mouth to explain, but Leo cut her off. It might have been Jason's imagination, but he thought he saw Leo shoot her a warning glare. "When I was at one of my foster homes, my foster mother took us out once a week. We met one of those occasions, and we just kept meeting up every week." "At least we did until you met Alexis," Brayden said, oblivious to the way Leo stiffened. "Where is she, by the way? I didn't see you two apart for almost a year and a half." Leo looked down. "She's dead," he said. He felt the stares of his friends on the back of his head, but he ignored them. "Oh, shit," Brayden said. "I'm really sorry. You two were practically inseparable." "How did she die?" Maya asked. "Natural causes," Leo said. As discreetly as possible, he glanced behind him at his friends. Not in front of them. They seemed to get the message. That sucks. I'm really sorry," Maya said. "We should probably go now. The others are waiting for us." Tell them I said hey, Leo said, and waved goodbye as the pair walked away. He turned around and cringed internally when he saw 6 pairs of eyes fixated on him. Well, 4. Percy and Annabeth already knew about Lexi. I know, I'm awesome, guys, but you don't have to stare, Leo joked. They didn't laugh. Okay, I have many questions, but I'm going to focus on this one. Who's Alexis? Piper asked. A dark shadow passed over Leo's face, gone almost as soon as it arrived. Just someone I used to know, he said, brushing it off. Hey, let's go to that restaurant we saw on the way here. It looked good. None of them looked very happy with this, but they let the subject drop, and like that, it was like it never even happened. Alright, that was chapter 9, and this will be chapter 10. By the time they had arrived at the Argo 2 later that day, almost everyone had forgotten about their encounter with Leo's old friends. Almost everyone. So, you gonna explain who those people were? Percy asked, sounding genuinely curious. Yeah, you didn't mention them when you told us about Alexis, Annabeth joined in. Leo pursed his lips. He had been hoping to avoid this conversation. Oh well, at least it wasn't the others who had asked. That would be far worse than explaining to Percy and Annabeth. At least they already knew. Before I met Lexi, I used to meet up with them every week when we were let out, he explained. They always took care of me even though they didn't know about Miss Teresa. Annabeth nodded her understanding before changing the topic. So, Percy will be with you tonight, and I'll be there when you wake up, okay? When Leo nodded his consent, Annabeth smiled. Get some rest, okay? Not like I have a choice, Leo joked. Percy might just force me to sleep if I don't. That I will, Percy said. Now come on, let's go. Leo went willingly, and they were at the door to his cabin within 2 minutes. You got anything to do? Percy asked. Repairs and stuff? Not really, Leo replied. Is there anything you want to do? Nope, Percy said. Should we go to my cabin? Sure, Percy agreed. They walked in silence for a while before Percy spoke. Leo, when you were in the infirmary, you mentioned that most of the time when you ran away it was because of, Yeah, Leo said quietly. He could already tell that this would not be a fun conversation. You can totally choose not to answer this question, but how many foster homes were you abused in? His voice caught for a second on the word. Leo remained quiet for a second, looking at the floor. It's fine if you don't want to answer, Percy began. No, it's fine, Leo said. Out of 9 foster homes, 5 of them hit me regularly. Leo kept his eyes down, refusing to look up even when he heard Percy's breath catch. Which ones? Percy asked, sounding ever so slightly broken. My 1st, 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 9th foster homes, Leo admitted. Most of the time I wasn't there for too long. I would always run away as soon as I could, but there were a few I couldn't run away from. Why not? Loads of reasons, Leo said. Sometimes the security was too tight. A couple of times there were younger kids there that I had to protect, and after I met Lexi, I was a lot less motivated to leave Miss Teresa's. I mean, I still would have left if I had the chance, but I definitely would have hesitated, or at least tried to convince her to come with me. Percy stayed silent, and they walked to his cabin without a word before Percy broke the heavy silence. I just want to say, I get it, he told Leo. Leo looked at him sharply, feeling a growing sense of dread. Not Percy. You couldn't have gone through that. Were you? Yeah, Percy cut him off. Speaking so quietly, Percy could barely even hear him. Leo felt like the breath had been knocked out of him. Percy, of all people. He'd always been so happy and well-adjusted to everything. Although, of course, if you asked anyone other than Percy and Annabeth, so was Leo. So, Leo asked, his volume matching Percy's. My first stepdad, Percy said. Smelly Gabe. Sounds like a nickname a 2-year-old would come up with, Leo said, grasping for a hint of his old humor. Percy chuckled slightly. Good, a 2-year-old did come up with it. Leo laughed quietly. Seriously, though, I'm really sorry that happened to you. You don't deserve that. No one does, Percy murmured. And yet it still happens, Leo agreed. Percy looked at Leo. My point is, you're not alone. You can always talk to me, or Annabeth. Okay, Leo said. No, seriously, Percy said, his tone urgent. I want you to say it. You know that you can talk to me or Annabeth, right? Leo met his eyes. Yeah, he said softly. I do. For the first time, Leo meant it. Percy smiled. Good, he said. Now, no more of this depressing stuff. We're doing something fun. Leo grinned, all hints of the somber mood from a few minutes ago gone. You know, I installed Netflix on the phones, and I can toast marshmallows with just a thought. Percy's smile grew. Movie night? Movie night, Leo confirmed. Meet me in my cabin. Bring Annabeth. Percy's smile only got bigger after that. And that was chapters 9 and 10 of Our Broken Repair Boy. I will be back next week with a fic on AO3. Again, you can leave any recommendations is appreciated from either fanfic.net or AO3. Make sure to go favorite and follow this fic on fanfic.net. And that is all for tonight. Goodbye!